Every year, Manchester plays host to Replay Events Gaming Market, a retro games fair where traders can sell their retro gaming wares. This year saw its venue change to the Sugden Sports Centre, having previously been at Audacious Conferencing in Salford. But its new central location means it is easier for people to come check it out, including me. So for the very first time, me and a couple of my best buds, Afi and Kay, decided to go along and see what we could pick up. I was really thrilled to check this out. Come and see what I thought were the highlights at this year's market, because, I'll tell you something, there were some very tempting finds to be had.
Hello fellow gamers, we're at the Manchester Gaming Market of 2019.
Hello, this is Pitbull.
When we got here, we were within the first 100 entrants, so luckily we didn't queue up for too long. Just as well, as they started chucking it down just as we were going in. Well, that's Manchester for you. So we didn't waste any time and we dashed over to the first stall. This one was run by Retro Monkey Gaming, and they had a very wide selection on offer. I managed to find even a couple of games here that I'd been trying to find locally for quite a long time. And I even found this universal adapter for the SNES. This meant that I would finally be able to try out those Japanese games that a friend of mine had donated to my collection a few months ago. Plenty more of the stalls had more games available, but this one in particular had a whole heap of plushies. I suspect this one was run by Retro Plushie Games, I can't be sure, but there were loads to choose from, and you know, I was tempted by these Super Mario themed Pikachu. Another stall here, as well as having quite possibly the largest selection of PS2 games that I've ever seen, had a NES themed Game Boy Advance PSP. I've been looking out for one of these for a while, but hiding behind it, a beautiful blue PSP. I'm not sure which model this one was, it's definitely not the first one, but that blue shimmer, it caught my eye, it was absolutely beautiful. I was very tempted by that, as my PSP at the moment is currently in shambles. I had a quick sweep over Lord Garth's stall, where he had a heap of awesome custom-made charms and keyrings available. But I was then interrupted by Afi, who, as it turns out, had bought me a gift. It was a Monster Hunter Stories amiibo that I didn't have in my collection yet. Sweet, dude! Next up, we happened upon a selection of Brawler 64 controllers in various different colours. I reviewed the alternative to these a few months ago, the Tribute 64. And you know what, I wouldn't mind getting my hands on one of these as well. Well, at least Kay got her hands on one of the versions of Harvest Moon on the PS1, and looking pretty smug about it too. Now, something that really caught my eye at the market was this selection of customised PS4 controllers. The variety they had on show was just staggering. Now, obviously, you wouldn't actually play with these controllers, but having any one of them would make for an awesome addition to anyone's gaming room. But the customising doesn't end there. Gold Saucer had a whole bunch of beautiful customised Game Boys, spanning pretty much the whole Game Boy range. Now, I know I'm in the market for a Game Boy Advance SP, the AGS 101, the backlit variant. I was really tempted by these. Each one of them looked absolutely stunning. There was definitely no shortage of gaming posters at the market as well, including this range of slim horizontal ones. They're kind of reminiscent of the marquees you'd find on classic gaming cabinets. You know, considering what you can see on them, that's probably a given, such as artwork for Donkey Kong and Space Invaders. But again, any one of these would make a great addition to anyone's gaming room. Now, the last stall here had quite a few surprises. Console Passion, who are running this stall, had a wide selection of imported, boxed games consoles. So you've got the likes of the US SNES, which is ugly in my opinion. You've got the Sega Mega Jet, that's the Mega Drive that you'd find on Japanese airline flights in the early 90s. And one of the creams of the crop, a boxed golden Nintendo 64. Whoa. There was another boxed Japanese N64 further down at what I thought actually was a really good price. You know, I've always loved the artwork that Nintendo used for their Japanese hardware releases, you know, compared to what we got here in the West. And you know what? Looking back on this footage now, oh, I wish I'd picked that up. It's so pretty. I even cited the 3D system for the Japanese Famicom. I've never seen one of these in the flesh before. If you don't know what it is, it's the glasses system you could use with a select number of Famicom games to get stereoscopic 3D effect. So, for anyone who didn't know, the 3DS wasn't Nintendo's first foray into stereoscopic gaming. This was. And they were doing it all the way back in the 80s. Now, the imports didn't end there. There was a long table full of them. Now, everyone's got their favourites, but to me, the highlights on this table included this top-loader NES, these two Sharp twin Famicoms. This is the Famicom and disk drive built into one unit, which I'd love to get one day. Another shimmering, shiny, golden N64. And these two Neo Geos. Now, it wasn't all about buying games and merch, though. There were a bunch of consoles set up all down one side of the hall where attendees could put their feet up and play some retro titles. There were games such as Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Mega Man, and a selection of light gun titles, to name a few. I could tell everyone was really enjoying themselves over here. So, after spending a few hours at the market and doing a couple of laps around it, what did we pick up? To start us off, Afi grabbed himself a Rotom Dex plushie. This character is a staple of the most recent series of the Pokemon anime. He also got a Pac-Man arcade cabinet alarm clock out of a mystery bag at one of the stalls. Now Kay, on the other hand, got a couple of different Harvest Moon games, one for the PS1, another for the Game Boy Color, as well as a couple of toy Mario Karts and a really sweet Space Invaders light projector. This is what it looks like when it's running. Now, my first pickup was Super Mario Bros. 2 on the NES. Now, I know this sounds like a pretty boring pickup, but strangely enough, this is the version of Mario Bros. I can never seem to find available locally at all. It's always either the first one or the third one, you know? But still, now that I have this, a gap has now been filled in my little NES collection. Next up is Magic Carpet for the Saturn. This is a half-open world adventure where you fly around on a magic carpet, firing spells at enemies in order to restore the world's equilibrium. It was even awarded as European Computer Trade Show's Game of the Year in 1995. Tall praise indeed. Now for another Saturn game, and this time it's Alien Trilogy. Anyone who's aware of any of the many Alien films will be familiar with the premise of this title. It's a first-person shooter where you can blast xenomorphs into oblivion. Now, Res on the PS2. It's one of those titles that I foolishly sold a couple of years ago, along with much of my PS2 collection, and I've only now been able to get it back. But if you haven't seen me play the PSVR version a couple of videos ago, it's a musical on-rail shooter where the premise is that you hack into computer systems in order to stop the central AI, Eden, from shutting herself down. It's a great title to pick up on any platform that you can find it on. Now the last of my game pickups, and it's Hyper Street Fighter 2 on the PS2. Again, another game that I'd foolishly sold a while back. It's a celebration of the 15th anniversary of Street Fighter, including at least 4 of the variants of Street Fighter 2. It also has a, albeit heavily edited, copy of the Street Fighter animated movie on it. Here's a little fact. The animated movie came out only 4 months before the live-action Street Fighter film, and it's a damn sight better as well. Of course, I mentioned it earlier, I also got the Monster Hunter Stories Amiibo, which is normally only available in Japan. I think there are about 5 or 6 of these overall, so I guess I better start getting all the others if I can. You know, to complete the collection. Also mentioned earlier was this SNES Universal Adapter, which lets you play import games from Japan and the US. I've been giving this a whirl with the 2 Japanese games that I have, and it works like a charm. Now I can start importing Super Famicom titles. Continuing with hardware, I also grabbed another controller for my Xbox 360. The controller I had before was, well, it was close to unusable, with some of the buttons and both of the joysticks playing up most of the time. I've been giving this one a try with some 360 titles and it's just flawless. A great find, and in far better condition and cheaper than where you'd normally find them. CX. Now next, I picked up these 2 holographic prints for The Legend of Zelda and Mario Kart. I saw these pretty early on, but I didn't pick them up straight away because there were quite a few of them at the stall. But I'll tell you something, they were actually a really nice price, and I couldn't turn them down. I'm a sucker for holographic prints. I don't know how well they're coming across on the videos though, but they're still very nice, and I'm going to find a home for them in the gaming room somewhere. Now to finish off, I also got a mystery bag. All 3 of us got a mystery bag from the same stall that I got those holographic prints from. Now in this bag, I managed to get this lovely Zelda notebook, a pack of Space Invaders playing cards, and both the Metal Mario and the Pink Gold Peach toy cards. All in all, it was a very pleasant surprise. So that was my first experience of Manchester's gaming market. There were loads of games to buy, lots of merch, both custom and official, and well, just try and stop me coming back next year. I'm going to leave it there anyway, but thanks very much for watching. Let me know what you thought of the video, with a like or dislike down below, or even leave a comment. Hopefully to give a shout out to the other vendors that were at the market as well. But anyway, I'm not going to take you away from your game hunting any longer. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.